Jake thought he was ready for anything. A lover of haunted places, he couldn't resist visiting the Winchester Mystery House. But what he didn't expect was the terror that would follow him home. It was a gray afternoon when Jake arrived. The house towered in front of him, its countless windows staring like eyes, its jagged rooftops cutting into the sky. It didn't look like a house. It felt alive, watching him. The guide welcomed the group with a smile, but even he seemed uneasy. The tour started normally, bizarre stairs that led nowhere, doors opening to thin air, and windows embedded into floors. But Jake couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching them. Every turn felt wrong. Every shadow seemed to move. Then Jake saw it. A door, slightly ajar, tucked away in a dark hallway. The guide didn't mention it. Something was pulling him toward it, like an invisible hand at his back. He glanced over his shoulder. The group had moved ahead. Curiosity got the best of him. Jake stepped through. The air instantly chilled, like ice on his skin. The warmth of the house vanished. He turned to leave, but the door was gone. Panic surged as he realized he had wandered into an unfamiliar, darker part of the house. The walls seemed to groan. The floorboards creaked like bones underfoot. Jake tried to call out, but his voice was swallowed by the oppressive silence. He reached for a door, locked. Another door? A brick wall. He pushed open a third, and there it was. A room covered in dust, furniture draped in yellowed sheets. In the corner, a rocking chair rocked slowly, as if someone had just gotten up. Then the whispers began. "You shouldn't be here." Jake froze. The voice wasn't human. It was a breathless rasp, almost too close. His heart pounded as he turned, only to find the hallway stretching impossibly long. Shadows slithered across the walls, too fast to follow. Something was behind him. He could feel it, breathing down his neck. He ran. The walls seemed to shift, twisting the house into a maze. His footsteps echoed, but there were others. Footsteps that weren't his. He stumbled into another room, breath ragged. The door slammed shut behind him. No windows, no exits, just 4 walls closing in. His chest tightened. Something was wrong. Something had been waiting for him. And then, in the corner, Jake saw her. It was Sarah Winchester, or what was left of her. Her body moved unnaturally, jerky like a puppet with broken strings. She wore a dark veil, hiding her face, but as she approached, her movements grew more disturbing. Her veil lifted. Her face wasn't human. Her eyes were hollow pits, black as night. Her mouth stretched too wide, a twisted grin frozen in place. Her skin was cracked, leaking dark ichor, dripping like tar. "You're trapped now," she hissed. Jake's pulse thundered in his ears. His mind screamed for escape, but there was nowhere to run. Her voice echoed in the room. "You've seen too much." He clawed at the walls, desperate, until his hand hit something solid, a door. He threw it open and bolted into darkness, not knowing where he was going. When he stopped, he found himself back in the tour group, except he wasn't the same. His heart raced. They stared at him, their faces pale. "You disappeared," the guide said, his voice shaking. "We've been looking for you for hours." "Hours? I wasn't gone that long." The guide's eyes darkened. "That part of the house has been sealed off for decades. There's no way you could have been there." Jake didn't argue. He left. But now, every night when he closes his eyes, he hears the whispers again. "You shouldn't be here." And Jake wonders if he ever really left,